turning a messy room into a minimalist space is more than just a physical transformation. It's a journey that touches on mindset, habits, and the way we interact with our environment. When I first looked around my room, I saw clutter everywhere. Stacks of papers on the desk, clothes draped over every surface, random objects scattered on the floor. It felt overwhelming, and honestly, it was hard to know where to start. But deep down, I knew I needed a change. I craved a space that would bring me peace, clarity, and a sense of calm, so I set out to turn my chaotic room into a minimalist haven. The process wasn't always easy, but every step was worth it. The first thing I did was acknowledge why my room was so messy in the first place. For me, it was a combination of holding on to things I didn't need, not having a system for organization, and simply letting things build up over time. Understanding the root of the mess helped me approach the transformation with more compassion for myself and a clearer sense of purpose. I started with a vision. I asked myself what I wanted my room to feel like. I pictured a space with only the essentials, things that truly added value to my life. I imagined open surfaces, clean lines, and a sense of tranquility. Holding on to this vision kept me motivated, especially when the process got tough. Decluttering was the first major step. I set aside a weekend and committed to tackling the mess head-on. I began by taking everything out of the room. It was shocking to see just how much stuff I had accumulated over the years. As I sorted through my belongings, I created 3 main piles: keep, donate, and discard. The keep pile was reserved for items that served a real purpose or brought me genuine joy. As I picked up each object, I asked myself, do I use this regularly? Does it make me happy? If the answer was no, it didn't make the cut. The donate pile grew quickly: clothes I hadn't worn in years, books I'd already read, gadgets collecting dust. I found satisfaction in the thought that these things could be useful to someone else. The discard pile was for items that were broken, expired, or simply beyond use. Once I had sorted everything, I made a conscious effort not to second-guess my decisions. I boxed up the donations and took out the trash, feeling lighter with every load I removed from my space. With the room now empty, I took the opportunity to do a deep clean. I wiped down every surface, swept the floor, and even washed the windows. It was amazing how much brighter the room felt with just a little bit of elbow grease. Now it was time to bring things back in. But this time, I was intentional. I focused on functionality and simplicity. I started with the furniture. I kept only what I truly needed: my bed, a desk, a chair, and a small dresser. Each piece served a clear purpose, and I arranged them to maximize open space and natural light. For storage, I invested in a few minimalist organizers, simple baskets and bins that could be tucked away neatly. I made sure that every item had a designated place. This made it easier to keep things tidy and avoid future clutter. Decor was another area where I practiced restraint. Instead of filling the walls with posters and trinkets, I chose a few pieces that were meaningful to me: a framed photo, a small plant, and a simple lamp. These touches added personality without overwhelming the space. Clothing was a big challenge. I used to have my closet stuffed with outfits for every occasion, but in reality, I wore the same few pieces over and over. I adopted the concept of a capsule wardrobe, keeping only versatile, high-quality items that I loved and wore often. The result was a closet that felt organized and stress-free. Books and papers were another source of clutter. I sorted through my collection and kept only my absolute favorites, or those I plan to read soon. For important papers, I invested in a small filing system, making it easy to find what I needed without creating piles. As I settled into my newly minimalist room, I noticed the benefits almost immediately. The space felt open and inviting. Cleaning became so much easier, and I found it simpler to focus on work or relax at the end of the day. There was a sense of calm that I hadn't felt before. Maintaining the minimalist space required some new habits. I started doing a quick tidy-up every evening, putting things back in their designated spots. I adopted a one-in, one-out rule. If I brought something new into the room, I made sure to let go of something else. This helped prevent clutter from building up again. I also became more mindful about what I allowed into my space. Before making a purchase, I asked myself if it truly added value or served a purpose. This shift in mindset helped me break the cycle of accumulating unnecessary things. Over time, my minimalist room became more than just a place to sleep. It became a sanctuary. It was a reflection of my values and a space where I could recharge and be my best self. The journey from messy to minimalist taught me the importance of intentionality, not just with my possessions, but with my time and energy as well. If you're thinking about transforming your own space, my best advice is to start small and be kind to yourself. It's not about perfection, but about creating an environment that supports your well-being. Remember that minimalism looks different for everyone. Focus on what feels right for you. Looking back, I'm grateful I took that first step. Turning my messy room into a minimalist space didn't just change the way my room looked. It changed the way I lived. I found clarity, peace, and a renewed sense of purpose, all within the walls of my own home. And I truly believe that anyone can do the same, one thoughtful decision at a time. Embracing a minimalist lifestyle isn't just about decluttering your space. It's about redefining what truly adds value to your life. Over time, I've discovered that letting go of certain possessions has brought me more freedom, clarity, and peace of mind. Today, I want to share 10 things I no longer own as a minimalist, and how each decision has positively impacted my daily life. First on the list are extra kitchen gadgets. At one point, my kitchen drawers were filled with specialized tools, garlic presses, egg slicers, avocado pitters, and gadgets I'd only use once or twice a year. Now, I rely on multi-purpose essentials, a good knife, a sturdy cutting board, and a reliable spatula. Not only does this clear up valuable counter space, but it also makes meal prep simpler and more enjoyable. Next, I've let go of duplicate clothing. Before, my closet was overflowing with similar shirts, pants, and shoes in slightly different shades or styles. I realized I consistently reached for my favorites, so I donated the rest. Now, my wardrobe is concise and intentional. Each item fits well, matches my lifestyle, and brings me joy whenever I wear it. I no longer own stacks of unread books. As an avid reader, I once believed that a filled bookshelf was a sign of intellect. However, many books sat untouched for years. I now borrow from the library or read digital copies, keeping only a few cherished favorites. This shift has made reading feel less like a race and more like a pleasure. The fourth thing I've let go of is sentimental clutter. Old birthday cards, childhood trinkets, and souvenirs took up boxes in my closet, but rarely brought me happiness. Instead, I've chosen to keep just a handful of meaningful items and digitize photos or letters. This way, the memories remain, but the physical clutter does not. I no longer keep just-in-case items. Those things I held onto for hypothetical situations that never seemed to arise. Whether it was an extra set of dishes, outdated electronics, or unused craft supplies, I've learned to trust that I can borrow or replace something if the rare need ever comes up. Gone are the piles of paper, old bills, receipts, and instruction manuals that accumulated in drawers. With digital tools and online accounts, I now scan important documents and recycle the rest. My workspace feels lighter, and finding what I need takes seconds instead of minutes. I've also said goodbye to decorative pieces with no personal connection. Instead of filling shelves with generic art and knickknacks, I now surround myself with a few meaningful objects that genuinely inspire me. This change has made my home feel more calming and authentic. The eighth thing I no longer own is excess furniture. Every piece in my home now serves a clear purpose. By removing unused chairs, side tables, and storage units, I've created more open space, which helps me relax and focus on what matters most. I've let go of an extensive collection of beauty products and toiletries. I used to stockpile lotions, shampoos, and makeup, many of which expired before I could use them up. Now, I stick to a simple routine with only the essentials, which saves both money and time. Finally, I no longer own physical media. CDs, DVDs, and even photo albums have been replaced by digital alternatives. Music and movies stream instantly, and photos are backed up safely online. This shift has cleared entire shelves and reduced the need for storage. Letting go of these 10 things wasn't always easy, but each choice has brought me closer to a life focused on what I truly value. Minimalism isn't about deprivation. It's about making space for what matters most. By owning less, I've gained so much more: time, freedom, and a deeper sense of contentment. Decluttering your space isn't just about tidying up. It's about creating an environment that supports your well-being, inspires creativity, and allows you to focus on what truly matters. The process can feel overwhelming at first, but with a thoughtful approach, it becomes a journey of self-discovery and renewal. Let's walk through the steps together and explore how to decide what to keep and what to let go. Begin by choosing a small area, maybe a single drawer, a shelf, or a section of your closet. Tackling everything at once can be daunting, so focusing on one spot makes the process manageable and rewarding. As you pull items out, lay them where you can see everything. This visual inventory is the first step in making intentional choices. Now, pick up each item and ask yourself a few key questions. Do I use this often? Does it serve a purpose in my life right now? Does it bring me joy or support my current goals? If the answer is yes, set it aside in your keep pile. If you hesitate, or if it's something you haven't used in ages, it might be time to let it go. Sentimental items can be the hardest to sort through. We often hold on to things because they remind us of special moments or people. It's important to honor those memories, but also to recognize when an object is no longer serving you. Consider keeping a select few items that truly resonate with you and let go of the rest. You can always capture the memory in a photo or a journal entry before parting with the item itself. When it comes to clothes, the process is similar. Hold each piece and ask, have I worn this in the last year? Do I feel confident and comfortable in it? Is it in good condition? If not, consider donating or recycling it. Keeping a streamlined wardrobe filled only with pieces you love and wear often can make getting dressed each day a delight rather than a chore. As you sort, create separate piles. One for items to keep, one for donations, one for recycling, and one for items that need to be discarded. Be honest with yourself, but also gentle. Decluttering is not about deprivation. It's about making room for what matters. For items you're unsure about, try the maybe box technique. Place questionable items in a box, seal it, and set a reminder for a few months later. If you haven't missed or needed anything from the box by then, it's safe to let those items go. Letting go can be an emotional process, but it's also liberating. Each item you release is a step toward a calmer, more intentional living space. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Celebrate each area you clear and notice how lighter and more energized you feel. As you move through your home, apply these principles to every area: kitchen gadgets, books, papers, even digital files. Ask yourself what supports your life today and what's simply taking up space. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to recognize what truly belongs in your life. Finally, set up systems to keep clutter at bay in the future. Designate a spot for incoming mail, regularly review your belongings, and adopt a one-in, one-out rule for new purchases. By being mindful of what you bring into your space, you'll maintain the sense of clarity and freedom you've worked so hard to achieve. Decluttering is more than a chore. It's an act of self-care. By letting go of what no longer serves you, you make space for peace, creativity, and new possibilities. So take a deep breath, trust your instincts, and enjoy the transformation, one item at a time.